record. Okay. So we're good to go. Hello everybody, we're gonna be playing some Amulet today. Yesterday we were testing out Daryl Ayer's list from the open. This is the list right here. And I like the list quite a bit, but there were a couple of things that I'm not really sure about. For example, for whatever reason, there's a ton of burn right now on Magic Online, which I just don't understand the reason why. I don't think the deck is particularly well positioned right now at all, but you know, people are playing it. And not having any Bailots in the sideboard, it's kind of a, it's kind of a pretty big deal. We played against Burn yesterday twice, and we beat them both times. But to be fair, our draws were pretty incredible. I mean, we were just pretty lucky. We drew exactly what we wanted to draw whenever we wanted or needed it. So it's not really representative. I think the matchup is indeed a little bit worse with this list than the list I usually run, which is this one that I will show right now. The second cavern though was pretty amazing. I think the second cavern is actually really good, and I think I will actually add it in my other list that we're gonna be playing today. The relics is just something I don't know. I just don't like relics that much. Maybe they are worth it. I don't think we played against any deck where relic was actually good. So that part is maybe in the overall meta, just the relics are actually worth the slot. Sorry, I forgot to post in the group right here. So give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to be running this list with a couple of changes based on the list that we ran yesterday. The first of these changes is going to be, there we go. The first of these changes is going to be adding the second cavern to the sideboard. I think the main deck is actually really good. I don't think I want to change anything from the main. It just has felt really good, like the last time I've been playing. I've been testing Tormod script, and I think I want to still be doing some of that because I played against one deck where Tormod script was great, and it was actually great. So that definitely shows some good prospects for the card. Now the second cavern is really good in matchups where Tracker is really good. So I think that is the card that I'm going to cut right here. Still, Tracker is really good against Magic Online doing the thing. Tracker is really good against the Young Pyromancer deck, Mardu Pyromancer. So in that sense, it is kind of like a loss right there. But I want to test the second cavern again. It was great when we run it, so I kind of want to try it out again. I'm gonna take a picture real quick so I can actually upload it to the deck list command. So let's save this in desktop. Amulet, and this is 7/24/18. Alright, so now it's saved. Now Imgur, I guess I can upload it here and then show the link. Maybe if any of you guys know like a better a better way to post this, let me know. But I'm going to post it in here because this just makes it really easy. Get the image, Amulet 72418. All right. Whoops. So now my phone is completely drenched in water. That's great. Amulet Titan. And okay. So is that it? What happened? Posts. Well, didn't I just post it? Alright, let's try this again. Browse. We grab the thing. It's processing. Amulet Titan. 2418. And oh, okay, you have to click share to community, I guess. Why wouldn't it be post or something? Ugh, so annoying. Sorry about this. Apparently I need to like confirm my... I'm gonna receive a confirmation email here. It's just kind of annoying. Okay, there it is. Okay. This is way more annoying than I thought. So I can't do it on my phone, so I'll have to do it right here. As you can see, this is high quality entertainment that I'm providing here. But yeah, I just want to make sure that you know that if people actually hit the deck list command, that they can find the list that we're gonna be playing. So I'm sorry that this is taking an extra minute or two. Okay. Sweet. Okay, we're good. We are good. This is the correct image. So image link, copy. Then we go to Twitch. Yes, there's only 2 counter spells. I've been trying to find. So basically, I guess this cavern would be taking the space of the other counter spell. I think cavern is of course way better against control, which is the matchup that I expect to face the most. Tirar en árabe. I have no idea what you're saying, Benji. Tirar en árabe, I no idea what that is. What am I trying to do? Oh, decklist command. Okay, so add com decklist, and we paste the thing. Oh. It's IE, like this, not I. Good shot though. You see. Okay, so here we go. So I think it should be good. I'm still going with the dismember slash abrade split over just running the 3 abrades. Actually, let's make one quick change before we actually jump in there. And I'm not going to upload the thing again, so sorry about that. But let's try that. I kind of enjoy the 4th Gruul Turf over the Celestian Sanctuary. So let's try that again. So let's join the league and let's go. All right, here we go. In the meantime, I'm gonna get something to clean the mess I just made. Okay, we won the die roll. I think I'm gonna keep this hand. Having double steerings, it's kind of sweet. I'm gonna lead on Tribe Scout anyway, but just if we didn't have double steerings, of course, it's just like the likelihood that we find more lands is actually quite high with this hand. If we happen to find like 2 bounce lands here, we're gonna be looking really good. We already have a Prime Time. We have a Rex Sage in play already. That's actually not bad for us. And we find the bounce land. Sweet. So here I'm gonna get the Tolaria West. Yeah, I think we're actually looking really good right now. And I'm going to actually... my opponent might be running counter magic, and I really need to hit my land drops, so I'm going to do this right now and play the second steerings under counter magic, and we do find the land that we were looking for. Excellent. So we're looking great here then. Even if my opponent is a Blood Moon deck, I already have an answer to Blood Moon in my hand, which is kind of looking like it is. And we actually find the best possible draw in the deck. Yeah, this is looking like a pretty good hand right here. I'm of course not going to play the Reclamation Sage here. Obviously, I'm trying to see if my opponent is playing Blood Moon or not, which I don't know yet. If my opponent fetches a basic here, they might be. I doubt they have any kind of like. I'm gonna be bouncing the forest here. I doubt they have any kind of like Molten Drain effect. Even more so in the main. Even if they are playing Blood Moon, I doubt that that's the case. So I'm going to... Okay, so they're just playing Jeskai. Cool. So we are actually in an amazing spot right here. My opponent's counter magic is completely blanked, and prime times are going to start coming down. And the game is pretty much over right here. My opponent has no threat. I already have a second prime time coming down on the next turn. Yeah, things are great here. Yep, my opponent just concedes. So my opponent is on control. Elvish Rejuvenator. Is that the guy that just like searches for a land in the top 3 or something? Because I don't think that card is really good. Against control. So what do I want? I want Caverns. I want Spell Pierces. Whoops, Spell Pierces. I want Rurik, and that's pretty much it. I like Bog, but I don't think that that effect is actually worth a card, so I'm not gonna bring in the Tormod script. Usually this is the land that usually I bring out in this kind of matchup is the Colony Garden, and all of the other lands are good for us. We could potentially take out a Grove, but I don't think that will be necessary. I guess the 4th Gruul Turf is worse against Crumble to Dust or like Ghost Quarter plus Surgical, which is pretty much the same thing. I think I side out a couple of Scouts. The Scouts come out because my opponent is actually playing both a Lightning Bolt and okay, so over what would you play the Elvish Rejuvenator? Because the body is irrelevant. Getting the land is actually, we have way better chances of hitting a land off Ancient Stirrings than that guy, because he's 3 versus 5 cards, and Stirrings is 1 mana. In the 3 mana slot is kind of like the cluttered one. I think Rek'Sai just a one-off is fine, because I'm expecting Detention Sphere from them, Damping Sphere, sorry, and I'm also expecting, in fact I think I kind of want to bring in the Nature's Claim. I'm expecting Damping Sphere, and I'm also expecting the search for a Scanta. It's top 5 too? Okay. I mean, maybe it's better over, like... I don't know if over Rexage. Like, Rexage as a one-off has been extremely good for me. We have a hand that's like a little bit similar to the one we had, but we have no payoff. And we actually, like, our mana is actually awkward here, so I'm gonna mulligan this one. And this is better. This is better. No green source yet. And there it is. Never mind. So here I'm gonna take it easy. I'm gonna make my land drops. Starting next turn I will play the Ghost Quarter. And I will, you know, then the following turn I will play the Gruul Turf. I want to be able to hold up Spell Pierce to protect against, you know, if my opponent decides to tap out. Although for 3 mana I don't think there's anything they can have. But drawing the Grove here is actually pretty good. So I'll just play the Grove and pass a turn here. Just play the Grove. I don't want to play into my opponent's like Logic Knot or something. I can blank their the Logic Knot anyway. So there's no reason for me to play into it for no reason. Damping here, you see, and this is why you do this. I guess they can have the spell. I guess they do have the dispel. Even if they do have the dispel, it's not the end of the world. They do have the dispel, okay. It's still not the end of the world. I still have double green. I get to play Azusa here. Play this, bounce, like, yeah, this, whatever. And then I play this. It's still not the end of the world. If I draw any untapped land, I can play Primetime next turn. Okay, so they kill the Azusa. That doesn't matter, and that's cool. They miss a land drop. Jeez. Okay, they're in a rough spot now. So add a green, add a colorless, explore. I don't think I want to play. I don't think I want to play the Cavern next turn. I'd rather just, even if I miss the land drop, I would rather just guarantee that I'm going to. Because if my opponent plays like Field of Ruin, and then they can like field my Cavern and then have enough mana to Logic Knot me. So by doing this, I basically play around all of my opponent's possible counter magic. And here we start doing. Here we start the Titan change, the Titan chain. That's a good draw. Giant. And just, you know, good old turn 5 Primeval Titan. Yeah, my opponent will pretty likely have a path or some other way to answer this. But being able to, you know, potentially transmute next turn, it's pretty good. Ooh, no path. Well, that's good for me. Teferi. If they Teferi minus on me, then I'm in a good spot. Yep, okay. So that's fine. So this is the third one from the top, right? Third from the top. So this is the first. So then I have another bad land drop, I guess, and then I'm gonna be drawing the Primetime. Another bad draw step, I mean. 1, 2, 3, I guess. Just play the Azusa and pass the turn here. So I'm holding up Spell Pierce. My opponent is going to start going off with the. So they cannot flashback Electrolyze here because of the Damping Sphere. So they have to choose the opt, which is fine with me. Yeah, my opponent, I think... Oh, wow. My opponent just punted, I think. They actually could have flashed back the Electrolyze if they wanted to. But they just forgot about the untap trigger there. Okay, so this is a good draw. I'm going to play that at the end of my opponent's turn. And then we're gonna be drawing... Then we're gonna be drawing Primeval Titan for our turn, which should put us in a good spot. And we even have Spell Pierce to protect our Nature's Claim. So this Nature's Claim was a good draw there. So we'll see what my opponent does. I know I don't have double blue. I'm just trying to see what my opponent has. Okay. But I'm gonna be drawing a Primeval Titan next turn, so that's kind of what I think puts me in a good spot. Okay. Okay, so with the Teferi trigger on the stack, I'm going to claim the Damping Sphere. We'll see what my opponent does. Are they gonna Cryptic? Yeah, this is sweet. Okay, awesome. So we Spell Pierce the Cryptic. And we should be looking really, really good now. Now we're in an amazing spot. My opponent gains some irrelevant life. They untap their lands, and now we draw Prime Time. Okay, so let's think here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can transmute for a blue pact. I can transmute for a blue pact. I think I'm gonna do that. I can still not. I cannot haste. I don't have any white source, so I can still not haste the Prime Time anyway. So I think this turn I'm just going to cast my Primeval Titan and take it from there. And I actually forgot to attack with the Azusa yesterday. It's not that it matters, because my opponent is definitely going to trade with the Snapcaster. So it's actually kind of whatever. But you know, it could have been relevant, I guess. So here I'm going to... I do have double blue, but I want to have an extra blue source. And I actually kind of want to nuke my opponent's graveyard. I don't think I can afford to, though. I think what I need to do is I need to just get Tolaria West plus... Tolaria West plus Simic Growth. I wish I could afford to nuke my opponent's yard. But it's fine. Still, my opponent does not have Path, which is very good for me, because Path could be a bit troublesome, maybe. What is up, Ikasi? How's it going? Okay, so maybe my opponent will minus again the Teferi. I don't think they will, though. Killing their Teferi sounds pretty bad. Yeah, they're just gonna plus. Makes sense. Supreme Verdict. Okay. That for sure is an answer to Prime Time. So again, still no white source, which is pretty unfortunate. But we'll have to deal with it. So now my opponent cannot snap. They cannot snap Snap Cryptic. Are they gonna click me? So I don't think I care about this Vendilion click, actually. I think this is fine. I'm gonna let it resolve. Because the only thing I really care about here is the Prime Time, so if they want to take this back to negation, that's fine with me. This is how we lose to control decks, by the way. This is like the only way that I feel like we lose to control decks. This happens, okay? They have some kind of... okay, that's actually a really good draw. How do I want to sequence this? I think I want to start here. Start there. Then we're going to transmute 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we're going to transmute and we'll see if this resolves. If this resolves, I think we basically kind of win the game. If this doesn't resolve, we're in trouble. Note that I didn't explore there. Yeah, they have the logic. Note that I didn't explore there because if I did explore, then I have 1, 2, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't have enough mana to actually go get a Primeval Titan. So that's actually really, really unfortunate that we were exactly 1 mana short from doing all that we wanted to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Good for my opponent that they didn't take the bait. So we explore here. Okay, so this is pretty good here. We can actually, this Vesuva draw was not bad at all. We can copy Simic Growth. And bounce Toleria West, and I can actually use this turn to resolve my pact. Oops, what happened there? Okay. So I'm going to actually cast my pact right here, and I'm going to make sure that it resolves. Get a Primeval Titan, which I of course do not have enough mana to play. So I will just hold it in my hand, and then next turn I can pay 4 for pact, and then resolve an uncounterable prime time. Of course, if my opponent has second V-click, this is bad. If my opponent has Damping Sphere, this is also a little bit bad. It's not as bad because I can still, you know, go squatter myself, destroy probably like one of the semi-growths, and pay for pact on upkeep anyway. But it would still be annoying. Yeah, my opponent taps my land, it just doesn't matter. Okay. So tap like this. What's up, Overrated? We're doing good. We're doing pretty good. We just started. We are one game. We're 1 game up against Blue-White Control. I've already used all my T-Wests, which kind of sucks. And the fact that I've used all my T-Wests kind of forces me to, you know, slam this prime time and pretty much just go get Boros, Garrison plus Stronghold. Since I mean, I'm still at a high enough life total that I don't need to go getting Radiant Fountains. At this point, I assume that my opponent has a path. There's just no way they do not. We'll see what they do. I can actually swing at their Teferi with this Akira Tribe Scout here. I don't think that's that crazy of a play. Swing at Teferi with Scout and then go squatter their Colonnade in response to their thing. What I want to do is I don't want my opponent to be, you know, just pathing my prime time and that's it. So I think I'm going to go for that play. I'm going to do this though. I'm going to play the Gruul Turf. I made a mistake there. I should have bounced the Vesuva. The Vesuva allows me to either copy their Colonnade to have an extra threat, or it allows me to copy a Ghost Squatter if I feel like that's going to be necessary. So it was definitely a mistake that I just made there. I should have bounced the Vesuva. It just gives me more options. Yeah, I'm going to come in with the Tribe Scout here. If they want to path something, you know, force them to path my Scout instead of my Prime Time. And this still allows me to Vesuva something if I want to. So let's see what my opponent does here. Attack the Fairy. They just want to force me to use Ghost Quarter, I guess? No. Oh, they have... Well, that's really bad for me. Speaking of things that could be bad for me right here. So I guess my play was not that good. And yes, copying their Colonnade is probably the correct play here. Especially now. That was rough, actually. That was pretty rough. Now I am going to copy their Colonnade. Ugh, it's ugly art Colonnade too. That sucks. Yep, I definitely did not play around Secure the Wastes, that's for sure. I guess my bad. Okay. So they just minus on the Prime Time. And they swing in. So now we are actually under a clock. Let's see what we draw here first. We draw a Gruul Turf. I don't think this changes things for us. I'm slamming Prime Time here. And I think I want to go after the Teferi again. Oh, I made a mistake. I should not have tapped the blue. Now I don't have mana for Colonnade. I mean, I guess I can go get mana for Colonnade, but still, that was not optimal. I'm going to bog for sure, and I'm going to get Simic Growth, I guess. And on the attack trigger, bog you. And now on the if I get an attack trigger, I guess. On the attack trigger, I'm going to... They have Path. Snapcaster Cryptic. So I guess I do not get an attack trigger. So that's pretty bad. My opponent played very well this game. Yeah, so this is what happens, you know, when I lose against Control, it's usually because this happens, and at this point I'm just dead on board, and there's nothing that I can do to stop all of that damage that's coming at me. This is the way that I found that we lose to Control. This guy, or Jace. Against Jeskai in particular, I don't think they run Jaces anymore, so it's just a Fairy. But that's usually, you know, what happens in my experience. I think my sideboarding is fine. Baloths... Actually, I totally forgot. I was kind of like I'm playing against Control mode. And I actually do like one Baloth against Control, because a lot of games end up with races. And I want to be able to have a Baloth as an option to tutor for. So that's that. Against blue-white, I do not bring in Baloth. It's just not impactful enough against blue-white. It's easy for them to answer, and the 4 life are very irrelevant. Like, it's just not good value. They took out bolts probably. Yeah, but whether they did or not, you see how we lost that game, right? They just race us. And no, Hornet Queen, I mean, look at what just happened that game. My opponent goes wide. Hornet Queen can block Vendilion Click, I guess. But I would just much rather have a walking ballista or something like that. Or even like explosives away the stupid Vendilion Click. But anyway, I still think this matchup is it's just, I think it's positive for us, but it very much requires tight play, you know. And again, the answer, like the way that they beat us, is by doing exactly what they just did. They just land the planeswalker, and then they start getting card advantage from it. And when that happens, that's the only way that they can keep up with our card advantage. If they do not have a planeswalker going, you know, cryptics, and they can have all the cryptics they want, they just cannot keep up with prime time. It's just too much value. But planeswalkers are sometimes more value than prime time. Okay, let's go. This is almost a good hand. If any of these were non-Bowsland, I would have probably kept that. And we're probably gonna mulligan into Oblivion here. This hand is also unkeepable. This hand is bad, but it will have to do. We're gonna put that on the bottom. It's unfortunate that we kept like Scout as a 2-off, and you know, it would be great if we could play it on turn 1 though, just to be fair. If my opponent has Damping Sphere on turn 2, we're just dead. I think that, yeah, that we're pretty dead here, because that's going to like put us behind on a land drop, and then we have no green source anymore. So yeah, Sphere really wrecks us here, but there's nothing we can do about it. Yes, that's good for us. That's very, very good. Considering the situation we're at right now, I think my opponent not having red mana kind of entices me to play Tribe Scout, so I'm gonna do that, try to get that going for us. I was trying to play around Spell Snare, but like since my opponent just, you know, straight F6, now I think I should have explored there. It's fine though. We're not. It's not too bad what's going on here. Of note that bouncing this will actually, you know, not put us forward on mana. So I'm just gonna do this and try to find another land. Probably bait a counterspell. My opponent does not wanna counterspell me. Okay, so we're going to play this, bounce Tolaria West, and then we'll replay Tolaria West and pass the turn, holding up Tribe Scout. Vendilion Click. Okay. This is pretty good for them. This is actually super good for them. Having this click on my end step for their turn 3 is actually super good for them. It gives them information, and more important than anything else, gives them a really, I don't know if really fast, but it gives them a clock. Gives them a clock period. That's not a bad draw. I mean, it's not an amazing draw, but it's not that bad either. So I'm going to 100% flush in the Ghost Quarter end of turn. My opponent knows about it. So I'm going to flash this in. And then we'll see what we draw. Cavern is our best draw. Ballista. I really don't want to play into counter magic. We're gonna start here, see what my opponent... No, actually I'm gonna start an Amulet. I start with Amulet, see what my opponent does. They do nothing. Then I'll play Azusa. What do you got? Nothing? Alright. So we're gonna start the race. Path, sweet. This is of course amazing for us. Gives us some extra mana. Swinging for 1. My opponent can very easily counter this ballista with a logic knot, so I'm not so tempted to play it. If my opponent, if I could ballista for 1 and stop their clock entirely, I would. But because my opponent has like potential logic knot mana, now though, if we happen to draw a spell pierce, we're actually not in a bad spot. Okay. Field of Ruin? No. No Field of Ruin. Okay. So this is actually great for me then. So let's think. I can go squatter their field. They can field me in response, try to destroy something, and I flash in Tribe Scout in response. I get destroyed if my opponent paths or kills the Tribe Scout in some manner in response, but I don't think they will, so I'm going to kind of do the risky play here. Basically what I want to do is I want to transmute for Cavern. Gonna see what my opponent does. If they activate the field, yes, awesome. Yeah, this is great for me. This is so good for me. Yep, this is amazing for me. Okay, we got him. We got him. The pro plays. So now we basically strip mine my opponent because the Field of Ruin fizzles. Of course, the Ghost Quarter fizzles, but I don't care about that. Now we can transmute for Cavern. And we can play the Cavern, making an Uncounterable Titan. And now we are off to the races. Giant. Opponent, you've been outplayed. And I'm going to go for no haste, or yes haste actually. No haste, haste is too risky. Path really destroys me here. My opponent does not have snap path, but it's actually somewhat likely that they do have a path. Yep, there it is. Dude, it's like I played this matchup before. It's crazy. So, this is very interesting. Instead of transmuting here, because my opponent is holding up this spell, instead of transmuting here, I'm actually going to take this chance to resolve the ballista. This stops their clock entirely. I'm not gonna play around Ceremonious Rejection. This stops their clock. And if they don't deal with this ballista somehow, then I'm in a really, really good spot. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, bouncing the Simic Growth kind of, is a bad play in the face of a second Field of Ruin. But if they don't activate it for whatever reason, yes, now we're saved. Is my opponent gonna make the same misplay again? Opponent, don't do this. Yes, okay. So there you go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Okay. So I'm just going to start activating Ballista. See what my opponent does. And I'm never activating this Tribe Scout ever. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play a land for turn. And get in there for 3. Nope. This is a good play from my opponent, though. They are trying to trying to prevent me from being able to bounce this Tolaria West, but I think there's just a lot of value in having them strip mine themselves. This is also yet another Ballista counter, which is also pretty good for me. And I'm going to activate Ballista again on their upkeep. But yes, so that was actually a good play from my opponent, I think. Yeah, now my opponent Snapcasters, but this takes their whole turn. And now any bounce land is a great draw. So kill the Snappy. And I also force them to use one of their paths on a Ballista instead of a Prime Time, which is also great for me. So I think tapping them out this turn is probably worth more than the 1 point of damage that I missed had I done that on my turn. Second Amulet. I'm going to play around Detention Sphere. There's no need for me to do anything here. Okay, but now I am on a clock though. What I mean by that is if my opponent plays a Teferi here, they're going to resolve it, and we're gonna be in the same spot that we were before. Fortunately, no Teferi for them, which is good. We need a bounce land, we need a Primeval Titan, we need any threat. Any threat would be pretty good. Gemstone Mine, I'm gonna play it because Gemstone Mine allows me to, if I happen to draw a Stronghold or Sandhome, it allows me to activate. But I want to hold up the Cavern in my hand. Yeah, my opponent does not know about this Amulet. I imagine they're gonna opt here. Yep, that seems like the best play. So I'm going to think about it a little bit and then pass a turn. They kept a card on the top, so they topped. So now I am expecting a Teferi or something like that. Now I am very much expecting a Teferi or something like that. Yep, my opponent's coming in, which makes sense. Since I already used my Ballista, there's not that much value in cheap shotting my opponent. I guess that I could like draw Rurik Thar. I guess that's like the only reason. And that's exactly what we were, talking about earlier. So I'm going to attack. I'm gonna see if my opponent blocks. If they do not block, I'm going to deal them 3 instead of... They take the 3. Okay. So now if I draw Rurik, I'm actually in an amazing spot. They secure for 3. Okay. Again, if I draw Rurik, I'm in a really, really good spot. My opponent leaves down a blocker, which makes sense. This turned out to be a very interesting race. That's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Do I play the Amulet here? I guess I might as well, huh? That was a misplay, because that kind of opened me up to Vendilion Clique for no reason. I don't know how many my opponent's running, but he might very well be running more than one. Uncounterable Primeval Titan. Okay. So here I can get Bog plus Bounce Land. Bog nukes their yard, and Bounce Land lets me get my Teleria West back. And I can still haste this prime time if I want to. So Bog kind of forces the issue on them. Okay. If they want to snap path, they have to do it now. They Cryptic, tap, and draw. That's fine. Jeez, I can't see anything. Okay. So now my dudes are tapped. Going to float a shit ton of mana. I think I played my land for a turn already, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm going to straight bounce this. Bog nukes their yard. And now I transmute using these two. I guess Spell Pierce is really bad for me. What I can do is I can Explosives, I guess. Explosives on 0. If I wanted to play around the Spell Pierce. Wow, this is really hard. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to... No, I can't. I need to try to... I don't think I can... Ugh, this is so bad against Spell Pierce, but here we go. You got it? Not having Ballista really was... Yeah, they have it. Fuck me. Okay, if my opponent has a path, I'm in a really bad spot. If my opponent does not, I'm in a really good spot. So that's pretty much the whole story. Yep, they have the path. Alright, so I'm in a really rough spot now. But I don't think letting my opponent untap makes that any less bad for me there. I need to get lucky here. This is not good enough. Alright. I'll give my opponent the GG's. And concede. Yeah, my opponent had exactly what he needed to have, exactly in the turns that he needed to have it. I wonder if I played my Ballista too early, but I think it was really... There was a lot of value in playing that Ballista right there, because it basically allowed me to not need to get a Cavern with that primetime trigger. It freed me up to be able to get that bounce land there with the Teleria West. So that's really unfortunate. So we're only 30-6 with the deck. But I think that was correct though. My opponent needs to have exactly Spell Pierce on that exact turn. And I'm still dead to path next turn anyway, right? Because my opponent just like pass, and then if I go and transmute for a blue pact, my opponent just paths and then just dispels my blue pact, so it's basically the same. I cannot afford to summon respect, so I'm going to pass. I just need to find some ramp here. And summon respect, yes, you could go get a Susa, but it's just not good on this board. I need to get luck here. We're playing against Storm, which is a really bad matchup, and I'm punished for not for playing Ghost Quarter instead of Teleria West on my first turn, because now I cannot play a preemptive explosives on turn 2. That sucks. I wanted to kind of like hide the fact that we are playing Primeval, they were playing Amulet, and then was punished by that. Yeah, my opponent has the 2-drop, and I don't have enough Amulet, I guess. No. No amulet. Alright, dude, do your worst. I think I'm dead here, though. So this is one of the matchups where Bog is good and where we're really going to be testing Crypt. This is one of the matchups that Crypt is for. So that's pretty good. Huh, so does anybody know how it works? Like, for example, if my opponent has Repeal here, can they just not repeal my explosives because the cost is 0 and Baral makes it 1 cheaper? So so repeal on 1, repeal on 0 would actually be repeal on 1, because I think repeal has to cost exactly the same. So that's an interest. Yeah, then playing the second one, it's basically guaranteed that I'm dead. Yes, I used to play with Chalice of the Void. It's just not really effective if you're not playing. I used to play it with when Summer Bloom was legal because we were running Simian Spirit Guides. I was actually running 2 Simian Spirit Guides in the main. In the main. So it just did not really. It doesn't. It's not just as effective if you don't have the Simian Spirit Guides that give you the potential to Chalice on turn 1. Without that, just Chalice on 1 is just not really good. It's just really not good in Modern. If you play it on turn 1, it's something, but if you play it on 2, there's just like the only decks that is actually effective, that is actually really, really good, and it's probably quite close to game over, are Infect and not even, is Storm. Not even. I mean, Chalice on 2 is really good against Storm, but they have a lot of answers to it. I think we're dead here. Yep, we're actually dead. Sweet. So that happened. I'm going to. So this matchup is really bad. Spell Pierces come in. I want Dismembers and I want Abrades. I want Rurik, of course. I want Tormod's Crypt. I want Second Cavern. Take out Ghost Quarter and Calmy. And then we take out Rex Sage. We can take out a couple of Explorers. And Ballista. And I think the last card is supposed to be the second Amulet Titan. I just don't like Explorer. Yeah. Explosives is fine as a one-off, as an out to empty, but usually they just don't board in empty against us, which makes a lot of sense because it's just not good against us. I'll go to the bathroom real quick and I'll be right back. Well, that's fun. I spent like the last 15 minutes talking and nobody was hearing to what I was hearing what I was saying. So that was funny. Okay, so what I was saying is that Tormod script was amazing that game, and that I'll keep this hand by the way. Again, it has interaction, and we actually have threats this time around. We have mana to explore and do stuff, so this hand is okay. We need lands, but you know that's kind of the case with a lot of hands that have a ton of spells. What I was saying is that in that game, it was the 1 mana difference between having to hold up 1 mana. They bottom 2 cards, okay. There was a huge difference between them having to hold up 2 mana to get a Grultorf and pass a turn. Between needing to hold that mana for Relic instead of being able to crack for free with Tormod script, and I think that was huge. I think that was massive. And that might have been the difference between us winning or losing that game, because we were able to hold up both. The explosive activation and the spell pierce on the same turn, which ended up being huge. And my opponent is missing land drops like crazy, and they're discarding 2 hand sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this one. So this is usually a play that comes up often. Basically, we're talking about whether I hold up this Tolaria West in hand or I go ahead and play it. Considering that I have only 3 gemstone mines left in my deck, while I have 8, effectively 9 bounce lands counting Vesuva, makes me want to actually play out this Tolaria West. So next turn I'm actually going to play out the Tolaria West. The fact that we have, we actually had plays to do delays that decision by a turn, so that's good for us. It gives us more, it lets us have more information before we're forced to make the decision. Jeez, my opponent kept a really sketch keep. But yeah, so here I am going to actually play the Tolaria West. So this makes it so if we draw any Tolaria West, we draw any bounce land or Vesuva, playing the Tolaria West is better because we can go and transmute for another bounce land. But if we draw exactly Gemstone Mine, then holding the Tolaria West is better because we can play the Gemstone Mine and we can actually transmute. Considering that if we draw the Gemstone Mine, we can just slam Rurik. That's basically what puts me over the top, and I'm going to actually play out that Tolaria West. And if my opponent plays an Opt or a Serum Vicious or something like that, I am piercing the shit out of it. Nope. They just have a bunch of, I don't know, like rituals and stuff. A braid. Well, to be fair, we're not doing much either, so we're just gonna keep coming in. What? Aww. That sucks. So I guess that this Stripe Scout did not want to get in. Jeez. My opponent is just not catching the break over there. There we go. Okay. So now we're good. Now we're good. We can slam Rurik, which I think is what I want to do because my opponent cannot win from 2 mana if we slam Rurik, so I'm gonna do that. There's no card in the format that punishes me for this, so we're gonna just do that. We had red, we have green. Play land number 1, bounce this, play land number 2. I'm actually gonna play the Crypt first, so I don't take 6 from Rurik, and then we win the game. GG's. And I expect a concession from my opponent right about now. Yep. Cool. So we beat Storm. which is definitely not a good matchup. So that's sweet. So 31 and 6. So that's pretty cool. We lost against the good matchup and we won against the bad matchup. You gotta love variance. Wall of Fruits, that's a fun name. This hand is almost good enough. If this were a green source, I would probably keep this. As it is, I'll mulligan. And this hand is much better. So any bounce land basically just wins the game. And even if I'm playing against Burn, I think that the upside of drawing a bounce land is just so huge that I'm going to bottom that land. I think drawing a bounce land is literally game over, because I can like play Amulet, then play bounce land as my land for a turn, and I can add 2 mana, play both amulets, and then bounce land makes it so I have infinite mana. Okay, so my opponent is showing me the explosives on the turn 1, which I think is not a great play, but I guess that my opponent are priced into trying to kill this. After they pop these explosives, they're gonna be really sad though when I play triple amulet. So I assume that we're playing against KCI. We could also be playing against Red Green Eldrazi, but with things as they are, I am going to hedge towards. Yep, so that confirms that it is KCI. So now bounce land is not immediately game over. Now it actually needs some work. And I'm going to play this out and play the second amulet. I'm not going to play the third one yet. I don't think it's worth it. If we draw any tap land that's not a bounce land, then we're going to be actually kind of sad that we didn't play the third amulet. I guess any green bounce land. Okay, bounce land. That's not a bounce land. Come on, deck. This is an awful matchup. I need you to help me. At this point, I feel very dead. If my opponent's last card is KCI, I mean, one of their 5th cards, I guess. Yep, they do have it. Okay, so I just have 6, and I wait until I'm dead. Chromatic Star, I assume that they're going to... They can even get bad explosives and blow up all my amulets. Yeah, we're dead here. We are dead. If we're not dead and we draw exactly green bounce land, we actually have a chance. But we're gonna have to do that. I mean, first of all, we have to not be dead, which is not easy. We have to not be dead to begin with. And if we are not dead, then we need to draw exactly a green bounce land. Because a non-green bounce land, aka Boros Garrison, doesn't do it. Yeah, I assume that my opponent will want to blow up my amulets here. Mind Stone. I'm starting to feel very dead here. I'm starting to feel very dead. So I would say that we are 80% dead by this point. Getting close to 90 real quick. That Mox Opal kind of seals it, I think. Now they're gonna have infinite mana. I just need to see the They don't have the infinite loop yet, though. They don't have a loop. They are extremely likely to find the loop, but they do not have it as of right now. They need either a second scrap trawler or I think second KCI likes it too, or the meal retriever. White mana. Why are they adding white mana? Oh, just because it was like the first thing that they could do. Oh, they just had Carhartt Cascade Miracle. That makes sense. They have like the expedited win condition. That makes sense. I'm not going to make my opponent keep, doing things that don't matter because we're already there. Spell pierces in for sure. Abrades in for sure. Nature's Flame in for sure. Ruliktar in. And Torment Crit. Yeah, I think I would play KCI. I think the deck is a lot of fun. The thing is that playing it on Moto it's really time consuming and annoying. So I don't think I would play it. I mean, I would probably play it on Moto, I think, anyway. Mox Opals are just like stupid expensive though. I think they are like one of the most expensive card in Moto anyway. So it seems like it's getting static sounds. As in like shh and stuff. It might be this. Let me know if the static sounds stops there. Because that was I just turned off a fan that I have right behind me. Cards that I don't want. Explorers. I do not want Explorers. I do not think they have any counter magic, so I'm going to... Actually, I think that Conning Garden is probably even worse than Cavern of Souls, because Cavern of Souls is at least an untapped green source on turn 1 for Tribe Scout. It's not clear? Okay, yeah, so it just was my fan, which is fine. I'll just leave it off. Reclamation Sage is really bad. Reclamation Sage is really bad, and that's actually the card that I'm considering cutting right now. Usually they will just hold up whatever they have until the turn that they go off, like you just saw. And they play KCI and then go off on the same turn. That's why we want Abrades and we want Nature's Claim. But Reclamation Sage is just not a good card against them, really. That's probably the card that I want to cut. I think it is. I think that's the card that I want to cut. Of course, we're going to play this game and we're going to find ourselves in a situation where we really want to go get Reclamation Sage, but that's how it works. Okay. Let's try this again. Alright, this hand is a bit more keepable. It's still bad. We need either a payoff or we need a ramp card. But we have almost enough lands. These lands are actually the correct colors. We have double green for Primetime, we have green-red for Rurik, and we have blue for Spell Pierce. So those are all the colors that I want to see when I have a hand, and we have 2 pieces of interaction. Again, I'm going to hold up the Tormod script for a couple of turns in order to kind of like try to surprise my opponent and catch them as off guard as I can. My opponent mulligans to 6, and then they keep the card on. They kept the card on top. I'm into F6 here. There's nothing that I will want to Spell Pierce, and if I F6, then maybe my opponent will not play around Spell Pierce. So they found the Trawler. And here I'm going to get blue mana. It's more likely that we will need it. Again, there's nothing that I will be Spell Piercing this turn. So I want to, be able to kind of... I'm trying to unrepresent Spell Pierce, if that makes sense. And that's actually kind of annoying. That's actually kind of annoying. Okay. So considering this happened, and I'm not gonna be able to... I'm gonna be using this turn to transmute. What do I transmute for though? And I think this is going to be the turn that I play the Tormod script. I think I'm going to transmute for Blue Pact, just because I want to have that as an option. If I didn't have the crypt, I would probably transmute for the crypt, but since I do have it, I'll do this. Also, defense grid, it's kind of like good for me to some extent, because now that I play this Tormod script here, it forces my opponent to, like, they need to interact with this script on their main phase, because they cannot kill it at my end of turn and then untap and go bananas. They're gonna play the Troller here. That's fine. This is a really tough one, okay? Because if I play Amulet here, this bounce land means that I can cast Primetime next turn, or Rurik. The issue with that is that if I pay this, then I cannot hold up Pact of Negation, and then I cannot hold up Spell Pierce, and Pact of Negation doesn't do anything this turn because I cannot pay on my upkeep. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the turn, and I'm going to keep Spell Pierce up and hold that as my interaction. Mind Stone is fine. And next turn I can Amulet plus. Next turn I can Amulet plus leave up Spell Pierce, so I like that. So now I can do this. And if I don't die this turn, which it's probably likely that I will not, because I have a counterspell for a KCI and I have a Tormod script for their Troller shenanigans, then I think that I'm going to win this game, unless he has some kind of interaction for my Amulet. They blow up my Amulet here, which is... Actually, I can pierce this. If I pierce this, my opponent cannot blow it up, and I think I'm pretty interested in that. The problem is if my opponent goes land KCI, I just die, so I'm just gonna let this go. And people say magic, Amulet is an interactive magic. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Wow, my opponent's so much value. Even the explosives kind of cracks and kills the star before it goes to the yard, so they can get it back with the Troller. Jeez. So much value. So much value. That is fine. So both Amulet and Chromatic Stars are gonna die. My opponent's gonna get back their thing. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I have stuff. My opponent did not play their thing. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna pact for Rurik here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. I'm just gonna pact for Rurik, and we should be in a pretty good spot, unless my opponent has exactly second. Unless they have exactly the second, a second Scrap Troller, in which case they Rurik has to chump attack. Okay. My meta is 1/2 Storm, Elves, Mono Blue, Flyers, some Mardu, Jund, and Devoted Druid combo, and some control. Any suggestion how I would build my sideboard? So again, Storm, Elves, Flyers, Mardu, and Devoted Druid. Against all of those decks, Dismember / Abrade are gonna be good cards. So that's probably gonna be a good place for you to start. You want at least two or three abrades. Okay, so this is great. I can even hold up. I can even have 3 mana to hold up Pact of Negation. So I think we're in a good spot here. I think Rurik is gonna take it home. If my opponent plays a second Scrap Trawler, I'm going to Pact it. So you definitely want some number of abrades. Mardu Jund makes me want some amount of Bailoths. Bailoth, I have no idea what you mean by mono blue flyers, but I imagine some kind of tempo deck. And some kind of tempo deck kind of suggests that you would want to you would also want some amount of Bailoths in order to usually things end up in a race, so you might want to use Bailoth to kind of make sure that you can end up ahead on that race. Yeah, so they are going to play the Scrap Trawler here, which I am going to Pact. Then against Storm, I've been testing Tormod Script and it's been really good. So I would probably recommend that you might want to play some crypts too. And against the Devoted Druid combo, I really like again sweepers and removal. Usually their beatdown plan it's just not good. Yes, I always want second EE. I really struggle to find any metagame where I do not want the second EE. The card is just so versatile and so useful in so many different contexts against so many different decks that I really struggle to find to find the meta where I would not want the second EE. So I take that as a given. I always want second explosives. And then there's... Okay, so I can get red mana here. Van Wedge, how's it going, dude? Alright, we're Ruriking my opponent here. Oh, yeah, get in there. Get in there, Rurik. It's actually really interesting that my opponent brought in the defense grid. So what does my opponent need to have to win? I guess they need to have drawn exactly a second Scrap Trawler, because Buried Ruin bringing it back is not fast enough. I think they're going to take 6 this turn. I think they're going to take 6 this turn. And then they're going to end of turn Buried Ruin, bring back their Scrap Trawler. But I'm going to activate Tormod Script in response, so that's fine. And what do I bounce here? I think I'm going to bounce the Fountain. They cannot activate both Buried Ruins. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, they're 1 mana short. So against the meta that you just told me, Tracker is... I would only bring Tracker against Mardu and Jund, which is probably not enough, honestly. So I think you want Bailoths over Trackers for that specific meta that you're talking about, because Bailoth is better. It's better against what we talked about, against the Flyers deck, and as well as the Mardu deck and Jund, because making Liliana bad and making Kolaghan's Command bad, it's actually super important in those matchups. Do I want to change anything? I'm starting to think that I want the Rex Sage, actually. Rex Sage would have been really good in that particular game. I guess if Rurik is in the deck and Rurik is kind of like our main plan, like you guys just saw, then I think Rex Sage is actually excellent, because it just basically stops the plan that they were going for right there, which is just a double tracker, double scrap troller, and try to like trade with Rurik. And I'm going to take out the Explorer. Maybe I should take out the other Explorer for another Dismember. But yeah, so those are the... If that's the meta you expect, then I would definitely try Tormod Script. I would want to have some amount of Fire Spout EE. Probably E for sure. Fire Spout maybe. I think I might want Fire Spout over the other option, over geez, why am I... It's really hard to try to do two things at the same time. I don't want to show them Bog, and this is like exactly the same thing. I'm going to play Gruul Turf, and then I'm going to bounce the other thing, so I'm going to do this just to not show them Bojuka Bog. And by the way, Tribe Scout Bog, it's a combo in this matchup. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I think that I prefer Kozilek's Return over Fire Spout in the meta that you just talked about. Okay, so I'm going to play Tribe Scout here and pass the turn. My opponent only has 2 cards in hand. If their 2 cards left are like KCI and Scrap Trawler, then we're in trouble. If it's not, then we might be okay. So yes, to finish it up, 31 Ger, I would probably do a mixture between K Return and the other one, and a mixture between Fire Spout and K Return. So play Ancient Steerings here. Ghost Quarter. The Ghost Quarter doesn't do anything. Guess I'll play and show them the Simic Growth. So I can play the Growth Chamber, bouncing the Gemstone. Yeah, I think I want to bounce the Gemstone. If my opponent does anything on the broken side of things, I'm going to flash in Bojuka Bog. If my opponent does not, then I'm going to flash in Gruul Turf, and I'm going to bounce Darksteel Citadel. This will give me access to potentially double Bog next turn if I happen to need to do that. Second Mox Opal, that's fine. So basically I have one... Yes, deck is very complicated. So my opponent has an Opal in hand. So do I wanna flash in the Bog here? Do I want to flash in the Bog here? I think I do. It just leaves my opponent... Yeah, I'm gonna flash in the Bog here. I think it's worth it. It basically stops their card draw shenanigans. Nice. Nice. So I think we really stopped them there. Unfortunately, I'm kind of forced to... play a bounce land here, even though I kind of would like to use this turn to transmute, because I cannot hold up transmute plus be able to pay 3 for the pact. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to bounce Bojuka Bog. And I'm going to pass the turn. Yeah, and as I told you guys earlier, like Tribe Scout, this is why Tribe Scout is good in this matchup, because Bog is actually pretty nutty. Is my opponent going explosives on 1? Yep, they are. They They are going to explosives on 1. If they blow it up this turn, okay, so I'll take 3. If they blow it up this turn, end of turn, I'm going to flash in this. Yeah, I guess in response to this, I will flash in this. And I guess I want to... I have enough green mana to play Rurik this turn, so I'm going to bog him here. Or do I want to be able to just... No, I think I want to bog him, and next turn I'm going to slam Rurik. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I have enough mana to play Rurik. Next turn I'm playing Rurik and... and then playing another bounce land so I can get the Bojuka Bog yet again. Play Rurik, play Semi-Growth, and bounce Bojuka Bog. Next turn I can go get a Primeval Titan, or I can use my turn to transmute and go get Tormod Script. This was a good draw. Alternatively, I can go get Reclamation Sage and destroy their Scrap Trawler. I don't think that sounds like an amazing play. So I want to go down to 8? I think it does not really matter. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to play the Tormod Script right now. Or I could actually hold up Pact of Negation. Is that better? Is that better? I think... No, that's not better. I'm gonna get the Tormod Script. Play this. Play this. Maybe I should have gotten Blue Pact. Maybe Blue Pact is better. Do your worst, opponent. I definitely do not want to go down to 2, though. I definitely do not want to do that. Because I want to... They cannot win if they don't use their interaction. And now I have like double interaction against them with both the Tormod Script and the Tribe Scout. Maybe you are correct, and that's what I was considering. Maybe Blue Pact is just better there. Like I was saying, I definitely don't want to go to 2 because my opponent is playing that stupid card. What's his name? The one that they would win with Pirate Spellbomb. So it's kind of awkward, but we can't really... You know what I just realized? Which is awesome. My Vesuva can copy their Buried Ruin, so I actually get an extra Tormod Script activation if I wanted to. That's kind of sweet. So it's my opponent... what can my opponent do? Second Scrap Trawler doesn't even do it at this point. I'm going to flash in Ghost Squatter. Potentially kill their bedroom in response to some weird thing. Yeah. Get in there, Rick. I doubt that my opponent would bring in Wormcall against me. And if my opponent brings in Wormcoil against me and they kill my Ruric Thar, then I go get it prime time and they are extra dead. So my opponent is at 2. They have to draw like exactly Scrap Troller. And if they do, now at this point I don't mind going to 2 because my opponent is going to be the one forced to act. So even if my opponent has Lightning Bolt in that hand, at this point it doesn't matter. If my opponent had the second Scrap Troller, I would go back for Rex Sage, kill it, and I go down to 2, but it just doesn't matter. I just have them basically dead. They cannot do anything. Sweet. So that was cool. We beat both bad matchups in Storm and KCI. After we lost to a good matchup in Jeskai Control. So that's funny. I will be right back. Just realized I never updated the record. So we're 2-1 and bye Benji. Thanks for stopping by. Canister. Crap. What's up? My record against Canister is miserable. For whatever reason, he always beats me. It's pretty amazing. I don't know what he's in. He might be on KCI, he might be on Grixis Shadow, he might be on Hollow One. Is this hand good enough? This hand is a single green source again for away from being great. I think it's not worth it though. This hand is way better. Sweet. Reclamation Sage. I'm gonna bottom that. If he's on Shadow, that's just not good enough. And then he plays Grimble. Yep, he's on KCI. Second KCI in a row. I'm going to actually go ahead and play these right now, because if I draw an Azusa, I actually can get ahead here, and I can play it next turn, make some land drops, and make it a turn through prime time. That's just not a good card in the matchup. So, if I pack for Azusa this turn, I can play it and I can pay for Pact. And then next turn, if I draw a bounce land, I can cast Primeval Titan. If I don't draw a bounce land, I cannot. But if I just play my land and I don't do anything, I think I just have to get lucky. I'm going to go get Azusa here. I'm just gonna make sure that I have enough mana to pay for my Pact on upkeep. That's why I'm doing it like this. Definitely playing this, and definitely playing this. And now next turn is gonna be spent. It's gonna be spent playing my paying for my pact. But any explosives on one. Okay, okay, cool. So then, against that play in particular, what we did then was great. So now we really need to. Yep, we are fucked because we did not draw a land that turn. We really need to draw a land there, and we 100% need to draw a land next turn. If we don't draw a land next turn, I think we are legit dead. I cannot. I don't have enough colored mana to explosives on 4, which is also pretty unlucky. He kind of has to kill the Azusa here. If he doesn't, yeah, he's Canister used to play. He used to play Amulet, so he knows a lot of these interactions that can be not very well known to anybody, to people that are not familiar with the deck, but he knows them. The reason why it was good for him to kill that is basically he knows that I did not make a land drop that turn, and what he did that I think was 100% correct was that he denied me for bounce lands to be an out for me, if that makes sense. Because with Azusa in play, if I draw a bounce land, I can get to 6 mana by playing the bounce land, untapping, bouncing. Sorry, one of my non. I think I want to. Sorry, let me finish this thought first. I can bounce one of my untapped lands, and I can replay it with my second land drop from Azusa, and I can get it to 6 mana. So that's why what he did was perfectly correct. Here, what I'm trying to figure out is whether I want to bounce Bojuke Bog in order to be able to play it again. But what I think that I want to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have enough mana. If I have an untap, oh no, that's actually wrong. Never mind, what I said makes no sense. So I'm just going to bounce this. Next turn, I can go get a second. I can play a second Primeval Titan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I can go get a Slayer Stronghold, bounce it with the bounce land, and play that as my land for turn. And I can actually swing in for what would be 6 plus 8. So he has the KCI. Okay, let's see what he does with this. What I tried there was I just tried to disrupt him as much as I can. That's why I went and got the Bojuke Bog. I'm just trying to do what I can to kind of stop him from going off. But honestly, if he has a Scrap Troller here, I think I'm dead, and there's not anything I can do about it. Playing against KCI twice in a row, it's pretty unfortunate. The matchup is pretty miserable. They are just more consistent than us. They have better interaction than we do, and they are going to go get the Scrap Troller here. Yep. Sack both things. 3 mana. Oh, they even have the terrain. Yeah, I think they have it here, or they are like extremely close to having it at least. I am quite obviously F6, so there's not much I can do here. I think what I would do here, if I get to untap, I think we win. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transmute for a blue pact, first of all. Then I'm going to pact for Reclamation Sage, and I will blow up KCI. And on the attack trigger, I am going to go get Bojuke Bog. So Vesuva copying Bojuke Bog to blow their things up. And I don't think that he's going to fizzle now. Yep, I think he's got it now. That's really unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. I think we gave ourselves the best possible out, but he just had it all. He had the interaction for my Asusa. He could stop my amulet with that explosives on one, and we were just barely slow enough that our turn 5 Primeval Titan was not good enough. But oh well, what can you really do? It's probably the reason why KCI is. I think right now it's the best deck in the format. I don't think it's close. I think it's far and away the best deck. Yeah, so right now he's not going infinite yet, but he's just getting enough value that he can keep the chain going, which I think it's going to be good enough. He's definitely not bottlenecked on mana, and I don't think, yeah, he has like 7 cards in hand. Yeah, second Scrap Roller. This is actually a loop now. He's actually going infinite now. So I'm just going to concede. Alright. We've come back from this before, though. We have come back from this before. So we won the Spell Pierces for sure. We won the Rurik. We won the Tormod Script. We don't want the Prime Time. I mean, because we want Rurik over it. We definitely want Nature's Claim. We definitely want Upgrades. We cited out Colony Garden. So there's that. We cited out 3 Explorers, I think. We kept in Rex Age. We cited out Ballista because it's awful. Yeah, Canister is really, really good. Canister might be one of the best players on Magic Online, and the Explosives is bad. I think we like this setup. This is the setup we used last turn. I'm still a little bit iffy about the Dismember. Maybe I do want this. I'm just not sure though. Maybe it's worth it over the Explore. Let's try it. We didn't try it last match. We're gonna try it this match now. Okay. We're gonna try this again. So this hand has a lot of... the second payoff in this hand is not good, but our interaction is actually pretty sweet. We really need lands though. We actually need a ton of lands with this hand, and we don't even have a green source, so I'm going to mulligan. And this hand is not great, but I guess it's better. Am I desperate enough to want this green source? I think I just need to get luckier, and I just need to draw a bounce land. I'm gonna name Scout here and play Sakura Tribe Scout. And this is why I left the Cavern over the Colony Garden. It's an untapped green source on turn 1 in order to be able to cast Scout. We might actually get punished this game in particular though. I'm not gonna play around explosives. I don't think I can play around anything. We're really fucked here. I don't think we're gonna win this one. The good thing is that if he plays explosives on 1, he's not playing explosives on 0. Yeah, we're dead. I don't think we can win this game anymore. We're just too far behind. We needed to draw like back-to-back bounce lands or something, and all of our cards don't do anything. I'm going to cast the Crypt here and be very sad. Even Inventor's Fair even raises our Strive Scouts. Yeah, this is not, it's not going well for us. This hand just did not pan out well. Maybe I should have gone to 5. I mean, I do think the hand had potential. I do think the hand had potential, but It just didn't work out. Yep. So they're going to blow it up. Yep. They even draw a card from their Terrarian. So much value. Hey, consolation prize. But bounce land is not even good enough. Even if I draw a green bounce land and I packed for a suicide, still not good enough, I don't think. Lol. Good thing we sided one of these bad boys out. Good thing we sided one of these boys out. Now they have the KCI. Yeah, I think we're dead here. I don't think we can win anymore. Sakiko Wellspring. Draw a card. Steerings, yep. Maybe we should have kept the first hand. Now they have the Troller too. So they're gonna kind of like force me to Tormod script, and then they'll go off. So the thing with Explores is that it takes turns from you, you know? We can't even pact for Rex Age because we died to pact on upkeep. That's hilarious. I think we're dead. I just really don't like Explorer in matchups like this because usually this kind of matchup is about racing, and Explorer is not really good if what you want to do is you want to draw business. Okay. That's the reason why I bring in. I mean, I would more often than not rather draw an Abrade than draw an Explorer. You see what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I don't really like Explorers that much. Because I will always be drawing the actual card that I would be digging for if I had Explorers, you know? So that's the reason to side out the Explorers. This is mostly for combo matchups, right? Mostly for combo matchups where it's all about trying to, you know, get ahead and trying to like combo faster than them and trying to interact to the best of your ability. And yeah, this is game. So I'll just give him the GGs and we'll concede. Yep, we were not getting there. To be fair though, after drawing that forest, we were actually a bounce land would have been an out there. Actually, that was 0-2. KCI is an awful matchup though. The fact that we beat it earlier does not mean that it's nearly. It's just not good. They're faster, they are more consistent, and I think their interaction is better than ours. Yeah, Kiki Jiki, it's awful. It's really bad. Our interaction is just not good enough. To be fair, Tormod script it looked really good in both matches. I play against this person quite a bit. He always changes deck, I think though. I'll keep this though. Okay. Is he on some kind of combo deck? This suggests, I mean, I guess it could be anything. Burst of Paradise. Yep. So here I'm just going to play T-West and pass the turn. So at least the fact that they searched for a Temple Garden, if they played Druid here, yeah, okay. So if they have the combo, we're just dead, and there's nothing we can do about it. So it's just very unfortunate. So we're just gonna act like they don't have it, because we cannot beat it if they do have it. So that's why. And here I'm going to copy their Temple Garden. Note that even though it gives you the option, even if you pay 2 for the Temple Garden, you are basically just paying, you're just giving up 2 life for no reason, because Vesuva enters the battlefield tapped, whether you pay 2 or not. Yeah, they do have the combo. Okay, so do they have a payoff? This is also another not so great matchup. It gets better post board, but it's still pretty bad. Yeah, they have the out. Yeah. That's smart of them. They just, a lot of people will just, like I just did, they will just concede as soon as you show them the win con. So they just, play the list on 2 and that's it, which makes a lot of sense. I want all of this. I want Fire Spout and I want the extra explosives. This deck actually does not use the graveyard, unlike the other previous iterations of that deck. The combo is Druid plus Vizier instead of being like Melira plus Vizier plus Kitchen Finks. If I were playing against the Kitchen Finks version, I would probably bring in the Tormod script. Since I am not, it just makes no sense. Rex Sage is a hedge against Damping Sphere and against Worship. For whatever reason, people love bringing in Worship against us, even though it's not great at all. I'm gonna side out Cavern. I don't think I side out Pact. I'm gonna side out Explorers. Again, same reason that we were talking about earlier. I'd rather draw any of these cards than an Explore. And Ballista is great interaction. Explosives is great interaction. Azusa is fine. Tribe Scout is also really good because they cannot really deal with this. So these are all cards that I want. I might side out one Summoner's Pact. Let me think for a bit. I definitely want my prime times. I think I'll just side out Steerings. No, Steerings gets interaction. What's my last card out? Pact can be awful, but sometimes you just resolve a prime time and then you are like dead to the combo, and having Pact of Negation as an answer, even if a slow one, it can be really good. I think I'm gonna side out one Summoner's Pact. Hornet Queen is a consideration. I already sided out one land. I don't really like going below 27 lands. It used to be perfectly fine in before the bannings of Summer Bloom. That would actually be a very common play. Just side out the 27th land, and then that gives you an extra. But back then you needed just less amount of cards. I'm gonna keep this hand. We have a good interaction, and we actually have a green source, since I am like 90% sure that my opponent is going to play a green source on turn 1. Probably more like closer to 100. So we do have a green source, which actually finds us our red source. So I'm going to lead on Radiant Fountain and pass the turn. If I did not know that I'm playing against a base green deck, then I would not be I would not be keeping this hand. But since I know for a fact that that's the case, I can afford to do this. Thoughtseize? No. Okay. I don't kill the birds. The fact that they ramp is not really bad for us. Letting them ramp is not bad for us. What we die to is the combo. Okay, so that's why I'm not dismembering here. I just want to save Dismember for Devoted Druids. Yep. Like that one right there. Yeah, I was gonna say, if my opponent does not show me another land, then I might actually kill the bird as well, but they did, so it's fine. Dismember that and pass the turn. I guess that's not a bad draw. Steerings into Amulet. Alright, that's pretty good. So I'm going to play Amulet here. and then I'm going to play Gruul Turf, probably bouncing the Overgrown Tomb. Oh, the Vesula, I guess. This leaves a raid up as interaction. Again, I am not going to kill the bird, even though that bird might enable company. I am not really afraid of their value plan. I'm only really afraid of their combo. It's kind of unlucky. Yeah, so they do have the... What's his name? And that was the worst draw in our deck. I made a mistake here. That was a slight misstep. I should have played my bounce land first. Yeah, their second way to win is to kind of value you out. So they have like a bunch of like Eternal Witness, Tireless Truckers, things like that, which are not really that relevant against us. Usually their value plan is not that good. So do I want to play against Kostali Primate? Some amount of interaction for my Amulet. Why I'm saying this is because I can Bojuku Bog. I can Besuva copy Gruul Turf to guarantee that I have an untapped green source next turn. I think I'm going to do that. So even if my opponent has some amount of interaction, something like Reclamation Sage, and they kill my Amulet, if I draw a prime time, I can still play it. We're not in a good spot. This draw was awful. Was the worst thing that we could have drawn, and might actually be bad enough that we might lose because we are just not finding a threat. Opponent does have the company. Bob. Wow. That's interesting. This is also kind of the reason why I did not want to side out the Bojuka Bog. The fact that they have Eternal Witness sometimes allows us to, you know... they took 4. Ooh, this trade is so good for me. Oh yeah, I'm snapping that trade off. Snap that off. Get out of here. So my opponent does not have... They did not leave up company. And they did not play anything. I think I'm just going to... Bad mode. I'm just going to... They might have Spell Queller, and if that's what they're holding up, they got me, because they not look like they are playing blue at all. Okay, so they're not playing Spell Queller. And that was a good draw. So the question here is, do I want to play around... stupid... What's his name? Path. And I think I do want to. So I'm going to do this. Going to go play Primeval Titan. Okay, that's fine. That doesn't really matter. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to go get Tulira West plus Semi-Growth Chamber. Setting up the next Titan. And what I'm gonna bounce is the Gruul Turf, because that will allow me to play this again, this time actually copying the Semi-Growth. And now I actually have a double blue mana to be able to transmute next turn. My opponent does not have Path, which is cool, good for me. Next turn I pay for Pact, I pay 3 to transmute. Okay, so if my opponent has the combo here, I am dead. No, Band Wedge, that's unfortunately not how it works. It's like Azusa's kind of recognize each other, I guess. That would be like the way to say it. But what you can do is you can stack like Azusa plus something like Azusa plus Explore, for example. Those actually do stack. Okay, so my opponent, actually shocking there, suggests that they have that they do not have Chord and they have Company instead. So what I'm gonna do here, and this is a very weird play, I already have the Tolaria West in hand. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go get Bounce Land and Gemstone Mine, because Gemstone Mine is an untapped blue source for me. So I am going to go get these two guys, and I'm going to bounce the Gemstone Mine. And on my second main, I will play the Gemstone Mine as my land for turn, and I will use that to transmute and go get a Blue Pact. My opponent clearly does not have an answer for a Primeval Titan. They didn't even Company in response. So now I will transmute. We'll see what my opponent does. If my opponent lets this resolve, I think I win. Yeah, no, so my opponent is smart and they Company in response. If they find a Devoted Druid here, I might be in trouble. If they do not, I think I just win. Yeah, okay, so we're fine then. Okay, cool. So now I am going to get Pact of Negation. So this protects me from anything, any shenanigans my opponent might have, and then I'm gonna play this dude because I can. And next turn I can attack, go get the double strike land, and flash it in combat. So as to make my Primeval Titan in basically double striking and very, very lethal. I guess my opponent can still like block with everything and activate Gavony Township, and that's not lethal. So that would be 4, 5 because of the token that they're gonna get. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they can have upwards of 11 mana. Or of 11 This is a very interesting one. Do I counter this one? I think I can have to. So I can pay 5 on my upkeep. I still have double strike. So if my opponent blocks with everything, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I'm gonna counter this one. And I'm going to force a series of chumps next turn. Is that a good attack? I don't think that's a good attack. I guess they do have the path. To exile. So if they attack like this, I can just block here, and then my opponent can have only 4 damage. Oh, but then I cannot double strike. So actually this Tribe Scout means more damage by being alive. Because I can flash in the land in my combat step in order to give my Primeval Titan double strike. Is my opponent going to upkeep path me? If that's the case, then I'm in trouble. If my opponent's last card is a path, I'm in trouble. It looks like it is not, which is good for me, of course. So now my opponent just has to throw everything in front of this Primeval Titan, and it's still lethal. So I go get Sunhome plus whatever, I guess Simic Growth, and bounce Sunhome. My opponent does whatever blocks they want. They're dead anyway. I think they're even exactly dead. Even if they chomp with everything, they are exactly dead. Let's see if my opponent saw my plan. Okay. No! No! Or is this a trigger? Okay, this is a trigger. I can still... This is not damage. Okay, cool. I almost freaked out right there. We can still do this. Wow, for a second I thought that I had messed up and I had misclicked. Okay. Last one. As you can see, like, interaction is what this matchup is about, right? I just need to stop what my opponent is doing, because my opponent is just faster than me. It just needs less moving pieces, you know. So interaction is the name of the game. That's why I want upgrades, I want dismembers, I want K returns, I want all the interaction that I can have in order to prevent me from dying. Oh, thanks, 31er. So these are the kind of plays that people, and that is the reason why the deck is not popular. A lot of the plays that you have to do are actually intricate, like that. You know, they are not just very easy to see. I do not like Spell Pierce. It just feels kind of like a little bit like a trap, because this hand is really rough. There's no interaction at all, but it's actually double Amulet hand, and I'm not one for mulliganing double Amulet hands. If my opponent has a turn 3 kill, like they had on game 1, you know, good beats. But if my opponent has anything slower than that, I think we can actually race them quite effectively. It's kind of cool to see the company deck in Moto. People don't really play it that much. Oh, and then I didn't explain why I didn't bring in a Spell Pierce. My opponent has literally 8 spells that I can counter, and my opponent is a ramp deck, so they have a lot of mana dorks. Spell Pierce is a very situational card, and if my opponent goes like turn 2, Druid, turn 3, the other guy, the 2/1 dude, and I'm holding a Spell Pierce in my hand, I'm gonna feel really stupid. It literally only counters company and cord, so that feels like it's a little bit too narrow for me. And like I said, my opponent is really consistent, so I don't want to have that narrow, cards that are that narrow. That's unfortunate. Apparently my opponent has disconnected. I'm gonna take this chance to go go fill up my water bottle. So my opponent's still not back. This always sucks when you get paired against a bad matchup and then, you know, unfortunately your opponent misses connection or something, and then we are kind of forced to wait for like, you know, 5-10 minutes until, you know, he restarts modo and everything, and then, you know, they just kill us on turn 3 or something. It just feels bad. It just feels bad. But anyway, thanks everybody for stopping by and checking out the stream. This is either a Primeval Titan stream, or now sometimes it might also be a Night of the Reliquary stream, as you can see on the top right, that way. Those are hands down my two favorite cards in Magic, basically. And jeez, my opponent disconnected again. And Primetime is of course number 1. That's why you will mostly see Primeval Titans being cast here. But in Legacy, where Primeval Titan is probably, you know, not the best card ever, I usually play some variant of Night of the Reliquary decks. I always enjoy, you know, decks where we have some kind of toolbox feel to them. I used to play Kiki Chord back in the day. As soon as Summer Bloom was banned, I mostly played Kiki Chord, so I played that deck for like, I think a couple of months, maybe I don't think it was a year. I always, you know, was still playing Amulet on the side, but you know, the lists as soon as the banning happened were not really well tuned. And then, you know, the more as time went by, I just started noticing that I just did not really enjoy playing non-Amulet decks. So if we're playing if we're playing Modern on this channel, chances are that we're gonna be playing Amulet. We might be playing some kind of you know, red-green Through the Reach deck, which also has Primeval Titan in them, or some Night of the Reliquary decks, maybe Value 10 or something like that. Have you tried out the 4-color Tron decks on Pauper? I have not. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of Pauper. I think that the format is okay, but it got stale a little bit too fast for me. Same thing with 1v1 Commander. I think that the 1v1 Commander format is a ton of fun, but the metagame sucks. The metagame is all like those stupid control decks. Snipehawk22, thanks for following. The metagame for the 1v1 Commander is just like a bunch of, you know, the white black thing that makes you draw cards. It's just like all value grind decks, and I play Azusa and Primetime, of course, because that's what I do. And yeah, it can be rough sometimes. Yeah, it's just like Pauper it never caught my attention. I think I built one Pauper deck. I built Elves in Pauper, because I really enjoy the gameplay of Elves in Legacy, and I somewhat enjoy the gameplay of Elves in Modern, even though I don't think it's that good of a deck in Modern. I think it's really good in Legacy. But yeah, that I built it, and I was just like, meh. You know, I played like 1 or 2 leagues, and I played against Delver, Blue-Red Delver decks like 4 times out of 5 matches or something. I'm like, this sucks. Like trickery from the board on every single match it just felt bad. So in that sense, it was, you know, I guess that maybe I should try some other decks, but I just really don't feel like, you know, spending money to try decks, and then, you know, in a format that I'm not really sure I enjoy. Like overall, I'm not really sure I enjoy Pauper as a format, period. But hey, you know, it's one of those things that Until you have tried, you don't really know. Um, but yeah, in Legacy, I've been kind of messing around. I saw this list, and this is the list that I wanted to try out. This list 5.0'd. It was in the in the list dump of last Friday or Saturday. I don't know when they published the Legacy lists. I think it might be banned. Okay, already. I mean, the thing is that it's weird, right? Because in Magic Online, KCI does not have that strong of a presence, you know. Because the deck just has a ton of clicks, and it's just really annoying to play, and of course really annoying to play against. But it's one of there, my opponent's back. The final score is we are currently 2-2. We are 1-1 against our green-white company opponent. We beat Storm. We beat KCI, and we lost against KCI, and we lost against Jeskai Control. Those were our results. Okay, so here, what I want to know is what is the best way. What I'm interested in here, what is the best way to make sure that I can transmute on my next turn? And if I do that, if there's any way. Yeah, the thing is that we kind of need more paper tournaments, because that's where KCI really shows up and demolishes. Just with the information from Modo, I don't think we can really tell whether KCI whether steerings will be banned or not. It's a little bit tough. So my opponent might or might not be playing Maelstrom Pulse. That's why I'm hesitating about playing this Amulet. I do not want to take the second counter out of this mind, so I think I'm going to lead on Colony Garden here. And then I'm going to try to get either an Explosives as interaction. I want an Explosives as interaction, or a Ballista. That would also be pretty good. Or a Whiff. That's kind of what we wanted there. That's so bad. This might be the nail in the coffin. If my opponent has a bad hand, then we might survive through this. But this was awful for us. That's just messed up. Like, that was really rough. We even bottom 2 Titans and a Fire Spout in the top 5 cards. Do I want to play around Maelstrom Pulse? If my opponent has the Maelstrom Pulse, it's going to be a one-off. So I think I want to actually play this Amulet out. And hope. Okay, we're in a rough spot. But I think the upside that if we draw actual prime time, we can cast it next turn and actually swing in for lethal kind of justifies the the fact that we might be unlucky. And okay, if my opponent has Cord, I am dead, and there's nothing I can do about it, because I cannot even go get the stupid Blue Pact. So I'm just going to again play like my opponent doesn't have it. I'm going to use this turn to transmute, go get a Green Pact. And if my opponent does not, they need to find a Druid exactly this turn. If my opponent finds a Druid here, I die. If my opponent does not find a Druid here, I think I win. So if they have Cord, I'm most likely dead. If they have Company, I have a shot. No, they have the Cord. I'm dead. Okay. So if they have the combo here, I just died. Going to F6. That's that fucking sucks. Okay, so they are going to go get Ballista, activating the Dust Watch. I'm not gonna make you guys sit through this. This is very... This kind of sucks. We drew extremely poorly. Like, whiffing on that steerings was just... That was the death sentence right there. We even bottomed some good cards. That was just straight awful. Still, that matchup is not good. We managed to steal one from them. Green White Company. We managed to steal one from them, but that was not enough. Anyway, we went from 4-1, 5-0, 5-0 into the 2-3. So that's just magic for us. We played against 4 awful matchups out of 5. We played against 4 awful matchups where actually in those awful matchups Tormod Script really showed up and really proved its worth. Honestly, I actually really like Tormod Script. So in that sense, that league was very productive. Now I am pretty convinced that I want to be running Tormod Script. I think I'm going to fire up another league with the same list, see how we do. And I don't think I'm going to finish this league though. Mostly because I'm really hungry. So I will need to kind of like stop in between. I'm going to play a couple of matches and then I will have to stop the stream to go get some food. This hand looks slow but keepable. What makes it keepable for me is the fact that we have a Colony Garden here. This will buy us quite a bit of time against most decks in the format. Yes, so the reason that I like Tormod Script over Relic is because I really like the fact that it's a one-off, basically. If you actually have the space for 2 relics and you want to dedicate that space for 2 relics, then probably it's better for you to run relics over Tormod Script. But if you have it as a one-off, which is the case that I have going on in my list, then I think that playing Tormod Script is just better. So we're playing against Affinity. Fortunately, my opponent has it's a little bit short on mana, which makes it good for me. Maybe their clock is not fast enough, and we can actually start ramping a little bit. Actually, the main there, Greg Sage, is gonna shine here, which is pretty sweet. We found an amulet. Okay, almost another whiff. Almost back-to-back whiffs with amulet. Sweet, good to know. Because if you have it as a one-off, you can actually transmute for it because it's cost 0. So just being able to tutor for it is such a huge deal in this deck. That's why I like Tormod's over Relic as a one-off. Again, if you have more and you have like a bunch of space that you want to dedicate to Graveyard Hate, which I honestly don't think that this deck really needs. But again, even in the past league, we played against KCI and Storm, and against both matchups, the fact that Relic sucks. The fact that we don't need to actually pay 1 in order to sack the Relic was huge. Yes, we can transmute for a book, but we cannot activate Bog at instant speed. Here I'm gonna take my chump while it's good. That's a very interesting draw. So let's find a bounce land here, okay? That is rough. That is very, very, very rough. With things as they are, I think I'm just going to go get a gemstone mine here. Wow, we've been so unlucky. Like we looked at we whiffed on one steerings, we almost whiff on the second one. We don't see a bounce land in the top, you know, the top, what would be like the top 22 cards of our deck. We don't see a single bounce land. Jesus. Here I'm gonna play Ghost Quarter to kind of, you know, make sure I don't die to this Blink Moth. If we draw a bounce land, we have enough to do all that we want to do anyway, whether we have this or not. So I can do this. So yes, Scrotus Megi. Does that answer the question? Then that's the reason why I like Bog over. That I like Tormods over Relic, and why it's not the same to transmute for Bog. Also, Bog requires a land drop, which actually that happened when we were streaming last week. We had a situation against Dredge where we had exactly 3 mana, and that was going to be our third land drop, and we needed to like nuke their yard, and we actually could only do that because Tormod script doesn't, you know, it just doesn't take up one land drop. Okay, so my opponent is trying to figure out whether they have lethal or not. If they don't, they're pretty damn close. If they don't, they're pretty damn close. So that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when if they attack with Ghost with the Blink Mod as well, when I go Squattery, they're gonna sack in response. So that's 9. Of course, Cranial Plating is lethal. Third Ravager. Okay. If they sack this one, they might actually have it now. They might actually have it here. Maybe not, though. I think this puts me dead to Galblast. Yep. Speaking of being dead to Galblast. They just sack this Ravager to this Ravager. And they sack all their lands. And we just die. Yep, they have exactly lethal. Because the modular counter goes to one of them, and then the Ravager kind of takes another counter by itself. So they have exactly lethal. That's really unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. And we would have won that turn. We would have won. Actually, if we had found like if we had found a bounce land from with any of the steerings, we would have won also. So here we want all of our sweepers and artifact interaction. We want Hornet Queen. We don't want Pack Negation. We don't want Bajuka Bog. We don't want Explorers. We want Rex Sage. We probably can trim one Summoner's Pact. And we can probably trim one Azusa. Actually, I might want to do this instead. Yep, this looks good. I'm expecting Damping Sphere from my opponent. Usually they don't run Blood Moon anymore. Damping Sphere is it's annoying, but it's very, very beatable. This hand is a little bit on the slow side, but it's a keep nevertheless. I can play T-West turn 1, then second turn play Amulet plus Tribe Scout, go from there. Of note, Asian Steerings can get Coastal X return, which is pretty sweet. Is my opponent holding up Spell Pierce? If they are holding up Spell Pierce and then they untap and they Damping Sphere, they are not holding up Spell Pierce. Okay. So, do I want to play around Damping Sphere here? Because if that's the case, then I probably want to Steerings instead of playing the Scout. The reason for doing that is if my opponent actually goes ahead and he Damping Spheres me, he actually takes me off of green mana. So I think I can afford, because I'm on the play and my opponent has a little bit of a slower draw, I can afford to try to, do this. And I don't need to, I already have the Summoner's Pact in hand, so I think I'm actually going to go get a basic forest. Is that the case? No, that can't be right. I'm gonna get the Gemstone Mine. Okay, sweet. If my opponent does indeed have Blood Moon, I'm of course extremely punished for not taking that basic forest right there. But if they not, having access to this blue mana allows me to potentially be able to transmute it in the near future. Maybe that's not correct though. Maybe I can, like, I just can afford to play around Blood Moon, so I should be doing it. Again, since the printing of Damping Sphere, I don't expect Affinity lists to be running Blood Moon anymore. Okay, we'll see what my opponent has. And by the way, Nature's Claim was an amazing draw. In case you that wasn't obvious enough. Being able to have like 1 mana interaction against Affinity, it's incredibly important. My opponent's tanking hard here. Ravager. Okay. So I guess they are holding up Pierce for something. I'm gonna play land. And I think I'm just gonna Scout here. I could Scout with plus Steerings if I wanted to. Yeah, I'm gonna Scout plus Steerings. And I'm gonna do that in this order, because if they want to Spell Pierce my Steerings, I'm actually quite happy about it. I'm kind of baiting them into getting my well, that's a fire spot right there. Going to the bottom. My opponent does not have an Ink Moth, so I'm not really afraid of being dead this coming turn. And this upcoming turn is actually gonna be our primetime turn, so I'm feeling okay about our position here. I can also transmute for explosives. I could also transmute for ballista. So the world is my oyster kind of deal. What is going on? You gotta be holy shit. I did not see that one coming. Okay, so I just got slaughter gamed, or what's the name? Stain the Mind of Slain the Mind? Stain the Mind. So bye bye prime times. Fortunately I didn't have any, and also fortunately I brought in my my Hornet Queen, so maybe Hornet Queen is gonna be enough to steal this game. Oh, Ballista, we still have Ballista, so we should be good. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. We still have Ballista, we still have Hornet Queen. The sound is very low on your end, difficult to hear you without turning my volume way up. I think my volume is maxed out. What I can try to do is I can just try to, speak louder. Is there like a like a volume settings that I can turn out somewhere else, but in OBS my volume is actually all the way up. Let me see if there like some kind of like in the settings. Whoops. Settings. Sound. Okay. Speakers, headphone. Alright, I'm trying to figure out if there's any way I can test your microphone. My opponent is spending their sweet ass time to try to figure that out. No. Cancel that. That's not what I want to do. Sound and control panel. Okay. Maybe it's this one. Speakers, headphone. Okay. Levels. Okay. Let me know. Is this better now? Let me know if that's a little bit better. I just found some switch and I turned it up. That's what I did. Wait. Oh, I cited out one prime time. Okay, that's fine. Wow, I'm such a genius citing out the Primeval Titan. Okay. That's not a great draw. Not a great draw, to be fair. So I can Hornet Queen this turn. The problem with that is that if I do it, considering I drew the second pact, I am going to use this turn to go get Rex Sage. I am going to Sage the Ravager. They're going to put some counter on an Ornithopter, which is something irrelevant, and then we'll take him from there. Kiki Jiki, if you are still around, let me know if that helped a little bit with the volume. So I'm gonna do this. Play Rex Sage. Destroy the Ravager. That's a bit better. Okay, sweet. I assume that my opponent is going to not sack anything and just like put the counters on an Ornithopter. Yep. And then I think my opponent knows. Oh, they know about my whole hand. They only don't know about this pact right here. Okay, I'm going to pass the turn here. I think making my land drops is going to be more valuable. And I have answer to I have answers to a potential Damping Sphere. I have answers to a potential thing. What's his name? Blood Moon. I have answers to a potential Cranial Plating too. That's sweet. Bolt Scourge. I'm gonna take this over there. They stapled that to a Thopter. I think I'm going to tag the plating here. Just gonna claim it. Get done with it. Move on with my life. Because my opponent does not seem to have any interaction for my amulet, I think I kind of want to... I think I'm going to just hold up this bounce line in my hand. See what we draw. I kind of want a pact for Hornet Queen. Whoa, that's a really good draw. So I can basically... This is a one-sided Wrath. This is a 3-mana Plague Wind, because my dudes don't fly and their dudes do fly. I always have to double read this. To each creature without flying if red was spent, and to each creature with flying if green was spent. So I have to not spend red. So I have to not spend red mana to cast this fire spout. What's the best way to achieve that? I just said I wanted to hold this in my hand, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna replay this twice. Oh, I can actually just do this. Bounce this. Play this now. And bounce this. And now I can cast Fire Spout, spending blue, green, and green. No big deal. Just play winding my opponent. And now the mediocre beats have officially begun. Cranial plating. Okay, considering my opponent did that, I think I'm just going to transmute for Ballista, and that should pretty much seal the deal here. Transmute for Walking Ballista. Play this. Bounce this. And play this. We start with a Ballista on 3. Next turn we make it up to 5, and we take it from there. So Staying the Mind was actually great for us, because it cost my opponent a bunch of damage, because they didn't, in order to pay for it, they didn't attack me that turn, and it put them pretty far behind in both in cards in hand and apparently in outs as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that we're doing pretty good here. Yep, my opponent just concedes. Nice Stay in the Mind opponent. Why only 540p on the stream? Because my computer sucks. That's literally the only reason. If I wanted to stream at a higher speed, I will be losing a ton of frames, and it would just not be a viewable stream. So I'm sorry about the lack of quality, but that's like the only reason that that those are the settings that I'm using. So my opponent has Stay in the Mind. I honestly don't think that changes my approach. I still don't think I want Rurik. I still don't think I want Baloth, although I might want... No, actually, with my opponent playing Stay in the Mind, I think this is actually the setup that I want. I want more pacts to go with either Rex Sage or Hornet Queen, and potentially Primeval Titan if my opponent does not draw the Stay in the Mind, and then take it from there. But yeah, that's the problem with cranial effects, Yes, it's all nice, and it's cool that you can. It's like a very unique effect, and people sometimes get stuck into the uniqueness of the effect, forgetting about the effectiveness of the effect. And my opponent was basically down a card, and they basically traded their turn and nothing in order to take away the dudes from my deck. Okay, that's a scary draw from my opponent, though. Those are scary Affinity draws right there. I think we can still beat one Overseer activation, and we have an answer to Overseer in hand already. If my opponent has a Cranial Plating here, okay, that's fine. That one we can beat. Jeez. My opponent has a pretty good draw. So I'm going to take 3 and 2 poison. That's fine. Land would be nice. Second Amulet is even better. Amulet number 1. Yep, I don't think there's any way that I die next turn. I guess Cranial Plating, nope, because they don't have enough mana to activate Ink Moth next turn, even if they draw Cranial Plating. So I play my land for turn. Play my land for turn. Float my mana. Bounce. Cast Steerings. Hopefully we find another bounce land. We do. Excellent. It's kind of painful to bottom this Ballista here, but I think that unless my opponent draws exactly... In fact, is my opponent dead right now? My opponent might actually be literally dead right now. So I can pact for us. I use my second land drop, okay? I play this. I pact for an Azusa. That brings me down to 1 mana, but 2 extra land drops. I use my second land drop for Azusa. I use my third land drop for Azusa. I go up to 9 mana. Yep, my opponent is actually dead right now. My opponent is actually dead right now as we speak. So that's funny. Guess I'll bounce this because I can. Summoner's Pact for Azusa. My opponent has no cards in hand, so there I don't need to play around. Galvanic Blast, none of that stuff. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I can. So I have to make sure that I don't fuck this up. I have 1 extra mana, then I can go get Boros Garrison. I can abrade this, so I can play around the bug that way. So I go get Slayer Stronghold plus the other thing, plus Boros Garrison. I attack. Then I go get Sunhome plus Vesuva. Yeah, because first strike damage prevents the lifelink from happening. So I can finish with one extra land drop. I don't think that's gonna be necessary. I don't think I can pay for my pacts anyway. So I'm pretty familiar with this deck, so I know a lot of these lines, but even so, like, some of these lines are, especially after running, you know, when you are like on your second league and you know there might be a little bit of fatigue going on. I really want to double, triple check, because as you can see, you know, if I make any mistake, like if I make one misclick here, I lose the game. So that's why I have 13 minutes. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to make sure that I make this big. I'm going to click the first thing. I'm going to wait until it shows up that it's, you know, highlighted. You see, lag happens. So first thing is highlighted. Second thing is highlighted. Here we go. I'm going to check that the bug does not hit me. The bug does not hit me. Okay, that's cool. I float. And I float. I haste. And I haste. I bounce this thing. The destroy target artifact, because we have the extra mana floating around, so we might as well. That mana goes to waste, but it's fine. Now I attack. Go to combat. Yes. Now I get Vesuva plus Sunhome. Vesuva plus Sunhome. Vesuva copies Boros Garrison. And this time I am actually hit by the bug, but this is the one that doesn't matter, because it's going to end up in my hand anyway, so that's fine. So there's that. That one untaps again. Float 2. Float 2. Double strike. Bounce. 20. So there you go. I guess when your opponent just drops their whole hand in play, you just kill them the next turn, on turn 2, and yeah. That's how you beat that draw from Affinity. Do you realize you're killing me on turn 2? Yep. Dex, great. My opponent says, do you realize you're killing me on turn 2? That's nuts. I'm like, yeah, Dex, great. I can't beat that. That's cool. Opponent's a good sport. They did not tilt or anything. That's cool. Red Matador 49, cool guy. Okay, so that was pretty sweet. We got to turn 2 my opponent, which always feels great. Even though it took us like a solid 8 minutes to go through everything. But we managed to effectively turn to them. Even though they had a really, really good draw from their deck. I think I'm going to... I kind of really want to finish this league. So, I really want to eat something, so I'm going to make myself a sandwich or something. And then I will be right back. Do you guys think I should like turn off the stream and then, you know, come back, then turn it on again, or should I just leave it on and that's fine? Been on for 3 hours. I think I guess I'll turn it off. I mean, you guys, whoever's watching right now, that you will know that I'm not here, so you know. So I will turn it off for like 20 minutes while I make myself a sandwich and eat it. Probably less than that. And then I'll turn it back on, just because I don't want it, you know, for the stream to be like completely blank. But yes, I will be right back and we will finish this league. Alright, see you soon.